Hi, I am walking to my friend's house in the lake community where I live, and we're going to be doing some yoga. And it's just one of those things that living in the lake communities, you end up meeting some really excellent people that have a lot of similar interests and everything to you. You really get to know your neighbors because the communities do have a very nice small town feel to them. So I'm going to turn this around so you can see my walk, and you can take a look around with me. So I'm walking down the road here, and there's a little bit of a noisy bird. One thing about the lake communities is a lot of them, in Bloomingdale especially, are right at the edge of pretty big forests. Glen Wild Lake in particular has a very large piece of property that goes along with it that it'll never be built on because it is part of the Glen Wild Lake property. And then after the Glen Wild Lake property, then there's Northern Green State Forest. Lake Iosco also is very protected. Lake Iosco has their own forest that also goes into Northern Green. And then that goes into Wanacue watershed, which is of course protected as well. Kampfe Lake goes into Northern Green, and Morse Lakes goes into, I don't know if it touches Northern Green, but it definitely touches into Lake Iosco. So it's all sort of connected. So the lakes do have a very nice getaway feel to them because they are surrounded by, you can see, it's just a lot of forest. Sometimes the ownership types in the lake communities are a little bit different, but what that does is that there's common element or association land which your lake dues go to help preserve. So I gotta try not to just show you guys the pavement. So, a little walk, even though if it's short, you can see it is pretty hilly in places. So you definitely get your exercise walking around the lake. If you go all the way around Glen Wild Lake, it is about 3 miles. I'm not going all the way around. So in addition to walking on the street, there are hiking trails that go all the way around Glen Wild, and then you go up into Northern Green State Forest. A lot of these hiking trails are marked. The ones that are on Glen Wild Lake land are very private. They are considered private property. But then, obviously, once you get into the state forest, it's a state forest, and there are trail maps and everything so that you could go on the marked trails. There's places to park too. You could just go up. You can see some of our forest is pretty beautiful. So this is a little cut through path so that you can stay off of the main roads, while you're walking around the different lakes. Chipmunk just went into there. So this is just a nice little cut through trail. It's very possible we're going to run into people as I'm walking down the trail here talking to myself. So let's see. So I'm actually going to see a friend who does a really nice little yoga class in her house. And, it depends on what your interests are, but the chance of you being able to find people with similar interests in the lake communities is pretty good. A lot of people that are drawn to lake communities are into the outdoors. So, that's one thing. Of course, there's so many different things, from book clubs to pickleball, hiking, sailing. There's just a lot of different activities, and, doing yoga with your friends and neighbors is a nice thing to do. This last weekend, we actually had the last of our sailing races. And then we also have an event called the Lakeathon. And the Lakeathon is like a little mini triathlon where you start at the clubhouse and then you either walk or run or jog or anything in between to a designated house. And then when you get to the designated house, there's people there to gather your sneakers and your t-shirts. And then you jump in the lake, and then you swim across to another dock where you have previously put your kayak, canoe, or stand-up paddleboard. And then you paddleboard or kayak or canoe to the clubhouse. So it's a run, walk, jog. If you're under 12, I think you're allowed to bring a bike or a scooter. Then it is a swim. And any and all abilities is welcome. I did this swim this year with a noodle. My husband used a kickboard. You could just swim it with no help, and there are spotters, to keep everything nice and safe. And then once you get out to the other side, you could jump on your watercraft. And then some people do it as a relay. If for some reason you can't do all 3 legs, you could get somebody to do part of it with you, which is always cute. And then back at the clubhouse where a poem is read. This year we had an art project. The money does go to help one of our dear friends. She created a beautiful charity that helps doctors get their, scholarship to help become doctors to help cure cancer. Because obviously we all hate cancer. There's the ball field. The ball field is really about the size of a softball field. A lot of people will bring their dogs there to play. Of course, clean up after them, but it is a nice little place to bring your dog. We are coming up here now to the clubhouse. During the summer, this clubhouse does have a summer camp. It is a very swim-focused camp. The clubhouse itself is a really fantastic building. I'll post a picture of a vintage version of it. But it's a beautiful building. It's got a lot of character, exposed beams. And then in the last couple of years, it was very respectfully renovated. So it still has the character, but it has nice light fixtures, and it's just clean and nice. They upgraded the water, not the water. Well, actually they did. They redid the bathrooms, but upgraded the audio system, new hardwood floors. The meeting room is there as well. Now you can see here on the side there's the pickleballers. Pickleball is a huge sport here at Glen Wild Lake. There's always a game that you could jump into. There's little message boards that if you wanted to play pickleball, that are all different, I'll say abilities. This is a beautiful little garden over here. A little garden path. There's pickleball. I personally don't play pickleball. I was going to learn, and then I think I fell off of something and hurt myself. And now I just haven't gotten around to it because I'm better now. So this is a pretty flat part of the lake. Makes walking a lot easier. Coming up here to the right, it's called Old South Road. And that is actually one of the legs of the hiking trail that goes around the lake. You could hike around Glen Wild and spend a lot of the time in the woods. There are a couple of stretches that you just have to be on the road. This is one of them. And then here you would go right and then go up into the trail. I think that one might need some maintenance, which is on my list of things to do. So I'm going to be making this turn here. Get out of the middle of the road. So there's a trail up that way. So I'm getting closer to my destination here. This is a pretty good tour of at least a section of Glen Wild Lake. I'm going to do one of these on as many of the lakes as possible. The lakes are private. A lot of the lakes don't usually mind when people walk them. You certainly can't go up to a private lake and decide you're going to drop your boat in or go fishing or ice fishing or ice skating or anything like that. And it's not that people are unfriendly or anything, but the lakes are, the police patrol them, and we really do know who our neighbors are. which just keeps everybody, it gives you that extra sense of security, that extra bit of safety, knowing that, you know, our kids are around. So I definitely do not recommend, look at that, trespassing in any of the lakes. It's absolutely beautiful. You can see where those little flags are over there. That is where the Glen Wild Lake swim team and swim camp is held. The swim camp is 7 weeks in the summer, and it involves like all your basic summer camp activities, including arts and crafts, tennis and pickleball, swim team, a lot of digging. The kids spend a lot of time building sand castles and digging holes and just playing. Volleyball is a pretty big sport here as well. There was another tournament over the weekend. So volleyball is another game that you pretty much always could jump into if you were looking for something to do. There is trail running, lake-a-thon, trail running, sailing, pickleball. I am going to start doing hikes again. It is gets busy sometimes with work, but you know, the hiking around here is really great. And to get up into Northern Green, there are some really exceptional things to see, like waterfalls and, you know, views of New York City. I'm gonna try to keep this off this kid. Hello, how are you, hon? That's one of our campers. So cute. All right, there's a dog with some laryngitis. So I'm going to be coming up to my friend's house soon. So I really appreciate you taking this walk with me. Forgive me for the huffing and puffing. I am certainly working on getting into better shape. And if you are interested in learning more about the lakes of Bloomingdale, New Jersey, you know, please reach out and I can tell you all about them. There's lots of awesome lakes in Bloomingdale. There's amazing lakes in West Milford, Ringwood, New Jersey. We've got Erskine, Skyline, Cupsaw, Denville, New Jersey. You've got Cedar Lake, Essling Lake, Indian Lake. You would never know you're only 30 miles out of New York City. It's just a really excellent place. All right, I'm going to stop my walking tour portion of this. Thank you so much for going for this walk with me. Let me know if you have any questions or if you wanted to see any lake communities in particular, and I'll take you along for the ride. That was a big portion of Glen Wild Lake, and we'll do the rest of it another time. See you soon.